The night was colder than usual. The wind cut through the empty streets, carrying dust and the smell of burning garbage. A young boy, no more than 14, sat on the edge of a broken wall. His clothes were thin and full of holes, and his shoes had long since lost their soles. He pulled his old blanket tighter around himself, the only thing he owned in this world. This blanket was not soft, not clean, and not new. It was torn, full of patches, and smelled of smoke. Yet to the boy, it was more valuable than gold. Without it, he would freeze. It was his shield against the merciless nights, his only comfort, his only home. The boy's stomach growled. He had not eaten since the morning, and even then it was only half a piece of bread that a kind shopkeeper had thrown at him. He tried to sleep, but hunger and the cold kept him awake. He curled into a ball, using the blanket to cover his head. Then he heard it. A strange sound. Not footsteps, not an animal. It was like a soft cry mixed with a painful groan. The boy lifted his head. Across the street, near the shadows of a collapsed building, something moved. At first, the boy thought it was a drunk man lying in the dirt. But when he looked closer, his eyes widened. The figure was not human. Its skin shone faintly under the moonlight, a pale silver glow. Its body was thin, fragile, and covered in cuts and bruises. Its eyes, large and dark, opened weakly and met his. The boy froze. His heart raced. He had heard stories of strange visitors from the sky. Aliens, some people called them. But he had never seen one. Until now, the alien coughed, a weak sound that echoed in the quiet street. Its lips moved, whispering something the boy could not understand. Then it collapsed fully, shaking as if death was pulling it away. The boy clutched his blanket tighter. Fear gripped him. He wanted to run. What if the alien was dangerous? What if soldiers came and blamed him? But then he looked again. The alien was dying. It was shivering just like him. Its chest rose and fell slowly, painfully. Its hand reached out weakly, almost like a plea for help. The boy's mind screamed at him. Don't do it. Don't give away your blanket. Without it, you will freeze to death. But his heart whispered, he will die without it. You know what that feels like, to be cold, to be helpless. Don't turn away. The boy stood still, trembling. He looked at his blanket, then at the alien. His lips quivered. If I give this away, he muttered to himself, what will I have left? The alien groaned again, its body jerking. Finally, the boy made his choice. Slowly, carefully, he stepped closer, dragging his bare feet against the cracked pavement. The alien's eyes followed him, filled with pain and fear. The boy knelt down and spread his old blanket over the alien's thin body. At first, nothing happened. The alien shivered under the blanket, its breath shallow. The boy sat beside it, hugging his knees. Cold air stabbed into his bones, making his teeth chatter. He rubbed his arms, wishing he could take back the blanket, but he didn't move. Minutes passed. Then the alien's breathing steadied, just a little. Its trembling slowed. Its eyes closed, but not in death. In sleep. The boy lowered his head, hugging himself tightly. The wind grew sharper, cutting him like knives. His whole body shook. He curled smaller, trying to steal some warmth from his own arms. But without the blanket, there was almost nothing left. He looked at the alien one more time. The silver glow of its skin shimmered faintly under the blanket, like a dim light in the darkness. The boy whispered softly, "Don't die. If you die, my blanket dies too." His lips cracked and his eyes closed as he leaned back against the cold wall. His body was freezing, but in his heart there was a strange warmth, a quiet voice that told him he had done the right thing. Still, fear remained. What if I don't wake up tomorrow? What if the blanket is gone and I am gone with it? The boy shivered through the endless night, never knowing that his single act of kindness was about to change everything. Because in the silence above the city, far beyond the clouds, something had already noticed. Something was coming. The morning came slowly, painting the ruined streets with a pale gray light. The boy opened his eyes, his body stiff and aching from the night's cold. His lips were blue and his fingers felt numb, but somehow he had survived. He blinked, trying to remember why his blanket was missing, then turned his head. There it was, the alien. The creature was still lying beside the broken wall, wrapped in the old blanket. Its breathing was faint but steady. The boy sat up, shivering, and stared. For a moment he wondered if he had only dreamed the whole thing. But no, the blanket was there, and so was the silver-skinned figure. The alien opened its eyes, two large orbs that seemed too deep for this world. They glistened with weakness, yet something inside them looked Grateful. Its lips moved and a soft sound came out, not like any human word the boy knew. The boy leaned closer. "What are you saying?" he whispered, though he knew the alien could not understand him either. The alien coughed, a sharp, painful sound, and raised one trembling hand. Between its fingers a strange glow appeared like a piece of light itself, shaped into a small round token. Its surface shifted with colors that did not belong to Earth. The alien pushed it toward the boy. The boy hesitated. "For me?" The alien's voice was almost gone, but a single word broke through, clear and strange. "Keep." The boy slowly reached out and took the glowing token. It felt warm in his palm, almost alive, pulsing like a heartbeat. He stared at it, mesmerized. The alien's hand dropped weakly after giving it away. "Wait," the boy said, panicking. "Don't close your eyes," but the alien did. Its body sank deeper into the blanket, chest rising slowly, then falling again. For a terrifying moment, the boy thought it had died. He shook the alien's shoulder. "Stay alive, please. You can't just give me this and leave." The alien stirred faintly, whispering one last thing in its own language. The boy couldn't understand the words, but the tone was full of pain and peace at the same time. Then silence. The boy held his breath. He pressed his ear close to the alien's chest. After long seconds, he heard a weak but steady heartbeat. The alien was alive, but barely. He sighed in relief. "You scared me." The token still glowed in his hand, faint light reflecting in his tired eyes. He had never owned anything like it. For a homeless boy who had nothing, this small shining piece felt like a treasure, yet he didn't understand its meaning. Why give it to him? Why not keep it? Voices echoed from down the street. People were waking up, shops opening, workers moving. The boy quickly hid the glowing token inside his pocket. If anyone saw it, they might take it from him. Two men passed by and saw the boy crouched beside the strange figure under a blanket. They laughed harshly. "Look at him," one said, sharing his blanket with a drunk beggar. "You're more foolish than I thought, boy." The other spat on the ground. "Better throw that thing away. If it dies, you'll be blamed for it." The boy stayed silent, hugging his knees. He knew if he spoke, they would mock him more. They walked away, their laughter fading. He turned back to the alien, frustration burning in his chest. "They don't understand," he whispered. "They've never been cold like us." The alien did not move, but its skin still shimmered faintly beneath the blanket, as if it carried its own secret light. The boy sat there for hours, watching, waiting, afraid the creature would stop breathing. Finally, the alien stirred once more, its hand twitching toward the boy's pocket. "You want me to keep it safe?" The boy said softly. "I will." He looked at the sky, wide and endless, where faint trails of clouds drifted. Somewhere far beyond, he felt something was listening, something was watching. He clutched the glowing token tightly, not knowing it was no ordinary gift. It was a sign, a key, a promise. The boy thought the night was over, but in truth, the story had only just begun. The night returned, heavy and silent. The boy sat near the broken wall again, his arms wrapped around his thin chest. The alien still lay under the old blanket, breathing faintly. The glowing token was safe in the boy's pocket, warm against his skin. He kept touching it every few minutes, afraid it would vanish like a dream. The city around him was never quiet. Distant cars, shouting voices, barking dogs, these were normal sounds. But tonight something different stirred above. A strange hum floated through the air, so soft at first that the boy thought it was his imagination. Then it grew louder, like a giant swarm of bees hidden behind the clouds. He lifted his eyes to the sky. A pale blue streak shot across the darkness. Then another, and another. The boy's heart skipped. They were not shooting stars. They were moving too slow, too controlled. Lights. Hundreds of them. The boy stood up, forgetting the cold. His mouth opened, but no words came out. The glowing token in his pocket pulsed harder, like it was alive, like it recognized the lights. He pressed his hand over it, his chest trembling. People in the streets noticed too. Doors opened, voices rose. Fear spread quickly. "What is that?" A woman shouted. "Are those missiles?" Someone else cried. Children screamed and families ran indoors. The boy didn't run. He couldn't. He kept staring at the sky, his heart pounding like a drum. The alien under the blanket stirred weakly, opening its dark eyes. For the first time, the boy saw fear inside them. "You know what this is, don't you?" The boy whispered, kneeling closer. The alien's lips trembled, forming sounds he couldn't understand. But the boy didn't need words. The meaning was clear. They are coming. hum grew into a roar. Blue streaks cut through the sky like blades of fire. They weren't falling randomly, they were forming a circle. A massive glowing circle above the city. Soldiers appeared on the streets within minutes. Their boots thundered on the ground, their rifles raised. Military trucks rolled in, blocking intersections. Loudspeakers barked orders. Everyone stay inside. Remain calm. This is under control. But the boy could see in their faces that nothing was under control. He crouched low, holding the token in his fist. It beat like a second heart, faster and faster. The alien reached toward him, weak fingers brushing against his arm. Is this because of you? The boy asked in a trembling voice. The alien's eyes closed as if in pain. The boy looked back to the sky. The circle of lights expanded, and for a moment the entire night looked like day. Then, one by one, the lights began to fall. Not like stars, not like meteors. They descended in perfect lines as if obeying a command. The boy's fear turned into frozen silence. His mind screamed to run, but his legs refused. He had never seen anything so terrifying and beautiful. The first of the lights landed beyond the city walls. A loud tremor shook the ground like thunder from underground. More lights landed, closer and closer, shaking windows, rattling roofs. People screamed. Soldiers fired warning shots into the sky, but the lights ignored them. The alien under the blanket opened its eyes again, weak but alert. It pointed at the boy's pocket, then pressed its hand against its own chest. The boy understood. The token is the answer. He pulled it out, staring at the strange glow. The colors shifted wildly now, green to gold to red, pulsing with each heartbeat. The closer the lights came, the brighter it burned. From the rooftops, children cried. From the streets, soldiers shouted. Fear wrapped the city like a heavy net. The boy, shivering in the cold, looked from the sky to the dying alien at his feet. He whispered almost to himself, "They're not here for us. They're here for you." And then above the city a deep voice thundered. Not from speakers, not from men, but from the sky itself. It spoke in a language no human could understand. Yet the boy felt it inside his bones, inside his heart. The lights descended in perfect unison, and the boy knew. This was not the end. This was the beginning. The night sky ripped open with light. One after another, the glowing streaks landed beyond the city, shaking the earth like falling mountains. People screamed, soldiers shouted, and dogs barked madly. It was chaos. Yet through the chaos, one boy stood still, holding a token that pulsed like fire in his hand. From the first crater, tall shadows rose. They were not machines. They were not meteors. They were warriors, 200 of them. Each one stood nearly twice as tall as a man, their bodies wrapped in silver armor that shimmered under the moonlight. Their eyes glowed faint blue, and in their hands they carried weapons unlike anything human eyes had seen. With every step the ground trembled. The boy's heart nearly stopped. His chest heaved, his legs shook, but he couldn't run. The token burned hotter in his palm, glowing so bright that even the soldiers nearby noticed. "Hey boy," one soldier barked, aiming his rifle. "What's that in your hand?" "Drop it," the boy froze. If he dropped it, would the warriors still come? Or worse, would they destroy everything? Before he could answer, the alien under the blanket coughed weakly. Its eyes locked on the boy, then on the warriors who were now marching into the city. Its lips moved, whispering one broken word. Safe. The boy didn't understand, but he felt it. The token wasn't a weapon. It was protection. The soldiers raised their rifles, shouting orders. The first line of alien warriors stopped, their glowing eyes fixed on the humans. The air was thick, heavy, ready to break into war. One wrong move would set the world on fire. Then something unexpected happened. The warriors did not attack. They turned their heads slowly all at once toward the boy. The boy gasped, stepping back. The token blazed brighter than ever, covering his face in golden light. The nearest alien warrior bent down on one knee. Then another. Then another. Within seconds, all 200 warriors bowed. Gasps filled the street. Civilians peeked out of their windows. Soldiers lowered their weapons in shock, and whispers spread like wildfire. Why were these terrifying creatures kneeling before a ragged homeless boy? The boy's hands trembled. Me? No, not me. He looked down at the alien prince under the blanket, barely alive. It's him you want, not me. But the warriors didn't rise. Their glowing eyes stayed locked on the token in the boy's hand. The boy realized the truth. The token wasn't just a gift. It was a symbol, a key of command. One soldier stepped closer, his voice shaking. "Kid, what did you do?" I just gave him my blanket," the boy whispered, almost too soft to hear. The soldier stared, confused. But the boy's eyes were wide with realization. That simple act of kindness had saved the prince, and now 200 warriors were here because of it. The alien under the blanket coughed again, struggling to rise. The boy helped it sit up. The prince's hand brushed against the token, and for the first time its weak lips curved into a faint smile. The lead warrior stepped forward, towering over both boy and prince. He tapped his chest with his fist, then lowered his head in respect, not to the soldiers, not to the city, but to the boy. The ground shook as all 200 warriors slammed their fists to their chest in unison, their voices rising in a deep, thunderous chant. It was not human language, yet every heart in the street felt the meaning: honor, gratitude, loyalty. Fear turned to silence. Even the soldiers didn't dare interrupt. The city had never seen such a sight, an army from the stars bowing not to generals, not to kings, but to a nameless boy who owned nothing but rags. The boy looked around, his eyes wide, his chest tight. His voice cracked when he whispered, "What happens now?" No answer came, only the endless chant of warriors, echoing through the streets, shaking the earth, and announcing to all who could hear. A new story had begun. The chanting of the alien warriors echoed through the broken streets, deep and thunderous, shaking every wall and window. People hid behind doors, peeking with wide eyes, while soldiers stood frozen, rifles lowered but not forgotten. They were afraid to fire, afraid to speak. 200 armored giants bowed in silence before one homeless boy who had nothing but rags. The boy felt his heart pounding against his ribs. He held the glowing token tightly, its warmth sinking deep into his skin. He didn't understand why they bowed. He didn't understand why the token mattered so much. He only knew one thing: if he dropped it, everything might change. The alien prince under the blanket stirred again, coughing weakly. His voice was faint, but his eyes pointed toward the warriors. With great effort, he whispered in his strange tongue. The lead warrior responded with a sharp gesture, and immediately, 4 others rushed forward. They knelt beside the boy and lifted the alien prince with careful strength, carrying him as if he were sacred. The boy panicked. "Wait, he needs rest. Don't hurt him." The lead warrior looked down at the boy, then touched the ground with his fist again, a gesture of respect. His glowing eyes flicked toward the boy's token, and the boy realized they were waiting for his permission. His throat went dry. "Take him, but be gentle." At once the warriors bowed again, then moved with slow, careful steps, lifting the prince as if they carried fragile glass. The boy stared in disbelief. All his life no one had ever listened to him. Not the shopkeepers, not the men who mocked him, not even the city guards. Yet here, these towering beings from the stars treated his words like commands. The lead warrior gestured toward the boy, motioning him to follow. The boy hesitated, hugging his arms against the cold. Around him, soldiers muttered nervously. "Where are they taking him?" One soldier whispered. "They're taking the boy, too." Another hissed. "Why him?" The boy didn't answer. He stepped forward slowly, barefoot on the cracked pavement. The warriors parted in silence, creating a path for him. As he walked, the people of the city peeked out of windows and alleys. Some gasped, some whispered, and others simply stared. To them, he was no longer just a dirty boy who slept under broken walls. He was something else now, something tied to the sky. The warriors led him through the streets, past soldiers who dared not block their way. At the edge of the city, the ground shook again as a massive shadow descended. A ship, silver, vast, alive with glowing lines, landed with a hiss of steam. Its size dwarfed every building nearby. Doors unfolded like wings, revealing a shining path into the unknown. The boy stopped, staring with wide eyes. He had never seen anything so huge, so alive. The lead warrior pointed at the glowing ramp, then at the boy. "Me?" the boy whispered. The warrior bowed his head in answer. The boy's chest tightened. Fear clawed at his throat, but curiosity pulled him forward. Step by step, he climbed the ramp, following the warriors who carried the alien prince inside. The moment he entered, warmth wrapped around him. The ship's walls glowed softly, humming with energy. Strange lights danced like stars across the ceiling. For the first time in his life, the boy did not feel cold. The warriors guided him into a chamber filled with strange seats and glowing symbols. The alien prince was laid gently onto a platform that pulsed with light, healing energy flowing over his wounds. The boy stood close, eyes wide, watching in awe. Then, to his surprise, one of the warriors approached him. The giant bent down, opening a box. Inside were folded clothes, soft, clean, and warm. The warrior lifted them, holding them out with both hands, bowing his head as if offering them to a king. The boy's throat tightened. His eyes burned. All his life, people had thrown him scraps, mocked him, ignored him. But here, beings from another world offered him clothes with respect. He took them with trembling hands. "Thank you." The warrior tapped his chest in response, then stepped back. The boy stood silently, holding the clothes, watching the prince breathe easier under the healing light. For the first time, he wondered if the blanket he gave away had started something far greater than he could ever imagine. But deep inside, another fear grew. If the humans outside thought these warriors came to conquer, war could still break out at any moment, and somehow, he felt it would be his choice that decided what happened next. The ship's hum was steady, like the heartbeat of a giant. The boy sat on a soft bench, clutching the clean clothes they had given him. He had never worn anything new before. He had never stepped into a place so warm, so safe. For a moment, he almost forgot the broken streets of the city. But outside, chaos was spreading. Through the glowing walls, he could hear faint echoes, sirens, shouts, the rumble of military trucks. Humans were preparing for war. The warriors inside the ship stood silent, their glowing eyes fixed on the alien prince who lay on the healing platform. His breathing was stronger now, his silver skin glowing softly. The boy felt relief. The prince was alive, yet fear gnawed at him. What will the soldiers do when they see this ship? A loud voice broke the silence. "Come out with your hands up. This is Earth military control." The boy flinched. The sound came from outside, amplified through megaphones. The warriors did not move. They stood tall and silent, their weapons lowered but ready. The boy rose to his feet. His bare toes touched the warm floor, his legs shaking. He had lived his whole life ignored, unseen, unwanted. Now soldiers and aliens alike were waiting. Somehow the moment had chosen him. He stepped closer to the prince. The alien's eyes fluttered open, weak but aware. The prince whispered something in his strange language, too soft to understand. But he pressed his hand toward the boy's chest, toward the glowing token inside his pocket. The boy swallowed hard. "You want me to face them, don't you?" The prince closed his eyes again as if answering yes. The boy turned to the warriors. "If I go out, they won't shoot me, right?" The lead warrior lowered his head, tapping his chest. Then he pointed at the token. The message was clear. The symbol will protect you. Still, the boy's fear clung to him. He was only a child. He had no family, no home. Why should he be the one to stand between two worlds? But deep inside, another voice whispered, "Because you were the one who gave away your only blanket. Because kindness made you chosen." With trembling hands, he put on the clean clothes. They fit perfectly, soft and warm. When he looked at his reflection in the glowing wall, he barely recognized himself. He no longer looked like a forgotten beggar. He looked like someone important. The ramp opened slowly, spilling white light onto the street. The boy stepped forward, clutching the token in his palm. The night air hit him cold again, sharp against his skin. Soldiers filled the street, rifles raised, tanks blocking the road. Their faces were pale with fear. "Stop right there!" An officer shouted. "Step away from the creatures." The boy raised his hand, showing the glowing token. Gasps rippled through the crowd as the light pulsed brighter, washing over the soldiers. The warriors behind him remained still, silent, waiting. The officer hesitated. His finger rested on the trigger, but his eyes widened at the sight of the token. What is that?" The boy's voice trembled, but he forced himself to speak. "They're not here to fight. They came because of this. Because of him." He pointed back at the ship where the prince rested. The soldiers exchanged confused glances. Civilians whispered from the shadows. For a long moment, no one moved. Then the boy stepped farther forward, his bare feet scraping the concrete. "Please," he said, his voice breaking. "Don't attack them. If you attack, everything will be destroyed. I know you don't trust me, but they trust me. And I trust them." Silence. Only the wind moved. The lead warrior behind him slammed his fist to his chest, a gesture of loyalty. One by one, the others followed, the sound booming like thunder. The boy stood between them and the soldiers, his small figure holding back war. The officer lowered his rifle slowly, uncertainty in his eyes. The boy's heart pounded, but he felt something stronger than fear now. He realized he was no longer just a homeless child. He was a bridge. The night stood still. Soldiers held their rifles, hands shaking, while 200 alien warriors stood in silent rows behind the boy. The city was frozen between fear and wonder. A single sound could spark war, yet a single choice could bring peace. The boy's heart hammered in his chest. He held the glowing token high, its light spreading across the street like fireflies in the dark. For a moment he felt the world breathe with him. Then the alien prince appeared at the top of the ramp. His wounds had healed enough for him to stand. Supported by 2 warriors, he stepped into the cold night air. Gasps echoed through the humans. His silver skin glowed faintly, his tall frame weak but proud. The boy turned, eyes wide. "You shouldn't be up. You need rest." The prince looked down at him, and though no human words came, the boy understood. This moment belongs to both of us. Slowly, the prince walked forward until he stood beside the boy. He raised one hand and pressed it over the boy's shoulder, then bowed his head. The warriors behind them slammed their fists to their chests in unison, the sound like rolling thunder. The humans stared in disbelief. The aliens were not here to invade. They were here to honor. The officer who had held his rifle now lowered it completely. His voice cracked. Why are they bowing to him?" The boy swallowed hard. His voice trembled but carried in the silence. "Because I gave him my blanket. That's all. I gave him something when no one else would." The crowd murmured in shock. Some laughed nervously, not believing. Others stared at the boy as if seeing him for the first time. The prince lifted the boy's hand high, the token blazing brighter than ever. The sky itself seemed to answer, glowing faintly with unseen light. For the first time, the boy felt something he had never felt before: worth. He was no longer invisible, no longer the dirty child on the edge of the street. He mattered. The officer finally stepped forward, his weapon down. His eyes met the boy's. Then, "What do you want us to do?" The boy blinked, stunned. No one had ever asked him that question before. People had ordered him, cursed him, ignored him, but never listened. He looked at the prince, then back at the humans. His lips trembled, but the words came. "Don't fight. Don't be afraid. They're not here to harm us. They came because of me, and because of him." He gestured to the prince. Silence spread once more. Then slowly the soldiers lowered their weapons. Civilians whispered in awe, some even bowing their heads as if recognizing something greater than themselves. The boy's chest swelled. Relief washed over him. A war had been avoided, not by generals, not by kings, but by a boy who had once been nothing. The prince turned and spoke in his strange language. The warriors parted, revealing a glowing platform at the base of the ship. The boy felt the prince's hand tighten on his shoulder, guiding him toward it. "Me?" the boy whispered. The prince nodded. The boy looked back at the city, at the broken streets, the cracked walls, the shadows where he had once slept. He had lived there invisible, unwanted. Now he was being offered something more than survival. He was being offered a place among the stars. Tears stung his eyes. He thought of the blanket, the only thing he had ever owned. He had given it away, thinking he would die without it. But that single act of kindness had saved him. He stepped onto the platform beside the prince. Light rose around them, warm and golden. The warriors saluted. The humans watched in silence, and the boy felt the future open before him. The ship's ramp closed slowly, sealing away the noise of the city. Inside, warmth and light surrounded him. The prince sat beside him, stronger now, and offered a faint smile. The boy smiled back. "I don't know where we're going, but maybe that's okay." The ship trembled, engines roaring. Through a window, the boy saw the earth below, his old life, his pain, his loneliness. And then, slowly, the stars drew closer. For the first time, he felt like he belonged. A homeless boy no longer. A new beginning had begun.